Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in today. Today I just wanted to go over how to sharpen and care for your axe. I'm going to be doing this today on my Wetterlings. I believe this is the Bushman axe. I could be wrong about that. I know it's the one they co-designed with Les Shroud. I've had it for about 6 or 7 years. It's definitely my favorite axe. Hands down, it's the one I carry with me just about probably 80 to 85% of the time I'm in the outdoors. This is the axe that I carry. It's got a nice, somewhat carpentry style head, but it does have a little bit of a curve here. It's got a nice little spot for your hands. I don't know what that would exactly be called, but it allows me to choke up on it for some finer tasks, and then a real stout hammer pull here that I can use for pounding tent stakes or building things or whatever I need to hammer. So yeah, we're going to sharpen it today. We're going to use a Lansky's puck, and let me show you that here. A Lansky's puck, now this is a two-sided sharpening stone. It's got a fine side and then a coarse side. This is my favorite way to sharpen an axe, hands down. The only thing with these is they can collect some grit. As you can see here, I've had this one forever, so it has collected a little bit of grit. I can still feel the coarseness through that grit, so it's not the end of the world. I like to carry, if I have the space in my pack, I'll carry some honing oil, and this is also by Lansky. It helps remove that metal grit as well as keep it away from your blade while you're sharpening it. And overall, I find that I get a keener edge using this. I have a smaller bottle that I usually carry in my pack, but this is one of the bigger ones. It's like $3, so I would say it's worth the investment because both of these right here will take care of any axe that you have. Even a machete, I use this for my Tramontina as well. I think $7.99 and $3.99, so about $11, $12 invested to keep your tools nice and sharp. And then I have some olive oil and a rag. I'm gonna put some olive oil on the head as well as the sheath here. It's been very humid here lately, so you're gonna see a very small coat of rust will start to build up, and I find that this is the best option for that. And if I'm using my axe to cut up any sort of food or meat or vegetables or whatever, something that I'm gonna put in my mouth, I prefer to have an olive oil on it as compared to some sort of synthetic or petroleum-based oil. That's just me though. Probably not the end of the world either way. And I have a little sharpening bag here that I use to toss all of that in. So we're gonna take you through the process of sharpening and putting this axe away nice and oiled. So stay tuned. All right, so apologize for the funky angle. I just feel like this is gonna be the best angle for you to be able to see exactly what I'm doing here. I'm gonna set these off to the side. Gonna need those yet. Now I'm gonna get my stone, put my axe down. I'm gonna put a few drops of the honing oil. Now I'm just gonna use the fine side today. I keep my axe fairly sharp as it is. I don't really have very rarely will I use the more coarse side. That's usually if I hit a rock or I hit like a really tough stump or something, or if I miss when I'm swinging my axe. But pretty rare that I use this. This is more if I put like an actual nick in it. This is just more for honing the edge, and that's what you want to do. You should really only sharpen a tool once or very rarely, and then just hone it for every couple uses, every use, for as long as you really can get away with it, honestly. Ideally as long as possible. But yeah, so back to this. I'm going to put a few drops of this honing oil on here. Not too much. Squirted a little on my log. I'm gonna wait a second and kind of let that seep into the stone a little bit. Rotate it around so it spreads over the full face, and just rub it in with my finger here. All right. Now I'm gonna take my axe. I'm gonna put it in a nice secure position. I like to lock this one in with my arm here, and my hands are pretty big, so I can really grip up on the head of the axe. And then I put it down, and you're going to want to put the stone facing the axe at a slight angle against the blade, and you're going to want to make small circular motions and travel up and down the face of the blade. I usually go about 7 to 10 times, depending on how dull it is. Ideally, you want to keep the blade as stable as possible and try to push it into the stone a little bit so that way you don't run the risk of your blade pushing out from your hand. Alright, I just wanted to stop the video for a second and really give you a close-up view of how I would use this puck. So I'm going to run the puck nearly parallel, facing slightly in towards the opposite side of the axe. And I apologize, I just set my axe down on this dusty stump, so it got the dust on it. And I would just run it along that edge, all the way to the tip, and all the way back. And quick, but not too fast, little circles. And you can kind of see here where that edge starts. And I would just do the same thing here on the second side. Alright. And you'll be able to see a little bit of the abrasion marks where that happened. You can take a cloth and wipe off any of the excess oil or shavings that got there. But already, I mean, that thing is sharp. It's shaving pieces of my fingernail off just from gliding against the blade there. So I already know this axe is incredibly sharp. I'll do 1 or 2 more runs here on a spot I think I missed. There we go. Now we're just going to do the same thing to the other side. Oops. And you usually don't need to put any more oil back on. Now when I'm doing it this way, what I'll do is I'll either lock the hammer pull in against the edge of a stump here. This is my favorite way to do it because I find this to be very secure. Or again, I could just kind of put my weight down and always have it so that if the axe was to, you know, slip or something like that, it would be facing away from me. But today I'm going to do it down here since I have this stump available to use. And again, just almost parallel with the blade, slightly facing inward as you run your stone. And it's not a race, so you can take your time and really feel the edge as you're doing this. Times. Always make sure you want to get from tip to tip. You don't want to have a dull tip on either side because you cut your sharpening a little too early. But yeah, that's incredibly sharp already, just in that 30 seconds. Try to use something as an example here to give you an idea. Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly sharp. That bit in, you know, almost 2 inches just from a light, very light chop. Before I go into oiling up the blade and the sheath here, let's just kind of test out how sharp it actually is. I mean, that was clean cut, easy, one cut, boom. And I mean, that's a small stick, so why don't we try a bigger one here? and just kind of beaver chew this around. Keep in mind, this has got some knots in it too. This probably wasn't even the best piece of wood to pick for this test example. And it's still cutting through it. Like butter. I mean, that's 3 or 4 inches in circumference of a very, very hard piece of maple. So I am extremely happy with how sharp that is. And again, one test I like, you know, just run it across your fingernail. If it takes shavings off your fingernail, that's usually my favorite way of knowing that it is extremely sharp. I don't really test how sharp it is to see if I can shave with an axe. I just think it's too big of a tool. It's a little too dangerous. I have a lot of veins, especially close to the surface. So it's not something I like to do, but I guess if that's something you want to test out, you can. So yeah, now we're going to take out the sheath, our olive oil, and a rag, and we're going to do a quick oiling before we put this back. Now I just like to kind of stick the rag in there, let it soak up the oil, and then we'll just run it across the face of the blade, making sure to get the top and the bottom, the spots you usually kind of miss. And it'll take the dirt off too, which is nice. So it kind of doubles as a cleaning. So. And I don't get super worried about making sure it's polished, but I like to get all the dirt off if I can. So you can see there's a lot of dirt from our little, what we just did there. So now that the axe itself is oiled, I'll take a little bit of this oil. I apologize, I don't really know what the hell my neighbor's up to, but seems, I don't know what, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what he's up to. But yeah, so we're just gonna rub that olive oil into the sheath and give it a nice firm rub down. This is gonna help our leather stay conditioned and prevent it from cracking. And a hot day like this, it'll dry right into the leather nice and easy. We can even put a little bit of oil here on the inside, and that way the axe is, you know, always getting oiled as it sits in the sheath. So I like to run a thin layer of oil through the inside of the sheath. Helps get out any dirt or anything like that as well. Plus, dual purpose item, carry olive oil in your pack, even in a smaller bottle like in a flask or something. You can use that for cooking or medicinals and things of that nature, your skin. So yeah, put my axe back in the sheath. And before we end here, to touch on handle care, which I didn't really go over as well earlier as I felt like I should have. Handle care is kind of an interesting thing for me. I don't really do a whole lot of it, I'll be honest with you. I rub my axe handle down with olive oil every now and then, just to kind of keep it sheen and, you know, keep the water out and stuff. The best thing you can do for your axe, like this is the original axe handle. You can probably almost see the faded Wetterlings logo there. And this handle is taken a lot of love. It's got some chips and dents and things. And again, it's about 6 years old. So it's probably due for a replacement here, you know, in the next year or so. Probably after this winter, I'll look at replacing it. But the best thing you can do for your handle is just don't leave your axe outside. Don't leave it wet in really hot or really cold conditions if you can help it. an axe sleeve is a really nice thing to have. You know, like a leather or a wax canvas sleeve of sorts would be, you know, a great way to store your axe properly and take care of the handle. But, and I apologize, in this video you probably have heard a million planes and are just as tired of them as I am. I live not too far away from a small airport, so Sundays are a big day for them. But yeah, so when my axe gets to the point where I feel like my handle is damaged in any way or needs serious care, I'll probably just replace it for safety reasons. I go out for long periods of time, and trying to re-hang an axe in the woods it's a very difficult process. It can be done, but it's just a pain. So, like for example, these dents and chips and stuff probably warrant a new handle here soon. So I would say for axe care, just don't store it up against a wall or anything. Don't store it in really hot or really cold or really humid conditions. Kind of just your ideal climate controlled environment is going to be your best way to store an axe. If you're out in the outdoors, obviously there's only a certain degree of climate control you can get to. So learn how to rehang an axe. Honestly, is going to be the best way. I'll do a video on that here soon, and I'll try to actually do it on this one so you can see how I do this. But yeah, that's just a bit on handle care from me. All right, thank you for tuning in on just some simple axe care as well as sharpening with a Lansky's puck. Again, I highly recommend the Lansky's puck. In my opinion, it's better really than any axe sharpener I've seen on the market, as well as, you know, you don't need to, if you file your axe every time, you're not gonna have an edge left pretty soon. So I think it's the best overall way to sharpen your axe on a long-term basis. So yeah, nothing crazy. Again, the axe or the puck and the honing oil were $12. This was like $2. So it's a very inexpensive way to take care of a tool that can really make the difference when you're out there in the outdoors. So thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your views, your comments, your support. Check me out on Instagram at BlueOakBushcraft. Don't forget to comment any videos you would like to see in the future. Throw me a like if you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate that. Subscribe for more videos in the future, and have a fantastic day.